Well, happy Monday, everybody. Glad to be with you. And I'm so thankful you joined me for this devotion. We're in Genesis chapter 5 today. I also hope you had a great time worshiping Jesus Sunday and just gave him honor and praise. I know Genesis 5 is probably your favorite chapter in the book of Genesis. Now, I'm saying that kind of, facetiously because this is a chapter that has a long genealogy in it. And I know these genealogies are your favorite. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know some of us, we struggle sometimes. He begat so and he begat so and all of that. But there's still some beautiful information that speaks to our hearts in this chapter. And for me, drop down to verse 22. Just share with you a devotional thought. Then Enoch walked with God 300 years after he became the father of Methuselah. And he had other sons and daughters too. But that phrase, he walked with God. Now in verse 24, it says he walked with God and he was not, for God took him. In other words, he didn't die. God just kind of like Elijah the prophet. God just took him to heaven. We're not told any more about it than that. But in verse 22, it's not talking about that. Verse 22 is talking about his life and relationship with God. He walked with God. Enoch walked with God. That phrase really spoke to me. So I looked at it in Hebrew, and where it's translated walked with God, the word for walked there means to go with someone, to move with someone. And the word translated in our Bible as with God is the idea of following after someone, following behind someone, following beside someone. So when you put those two together, here's the picture that Enoch was moving with God. He was moving, he was walking, he was going beside, behind, with, after God. And that's a powerful picture of intimacy with God, closeness with God, fellowship with God, but also obedience to God. Now, how do I get obedience out of that? He's walking, he's following with, beside, after God. In other words, God is setting the direction. And as God walks this direction, because Enoch was walking with God, beside God, behind God, after God, going with God, whatever direction God went, Enoch went. That's obedience. Going where God goes. That's obedience. And intimacy with God diminishes when you stop obeying. Because as you walk with God, you stay close to God. But when God's going one direction and you don't want to go that direction, you start going a different direction, intimacy dissipates. I want to be like Enoch. Oh, would I love not to die and God just take me to heaven? Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I want the steps I take through life to follow the direction God is leading. Obedience, intimacy, closeness. And in 2025, one of my prayers is that I will walk more closely with God in his direction, in his steps. That I'm walking with him every day, and there's not a day where I get off and go on a different path every day. I want to walk with God. What is your prayer for yourself for 2025? What is it you want in this new year? I want to be more like Enoch, and I hope you do as well. Hey, I'll look forward to being with you tomorrow as we look at Genesis chapter 6. God bless you, everybody. Have a great day.